If you really want to beat the bookies, you don't do it by smashing accas or chasing long shots. You do it by consistently betting in the markets they don't prioritize. And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 smart football bets that sharp bettors use quietly, not because they're flashy, but because they exploit structure. And I'm also going to show you exactly where to find these bets and how to approach them intelligently, so you can start spotting the opportunities yourself. And once you understand why these 5 markets behave the way they do, you'll never look at a standard betting slip the same way again. If you want to bet on football and profit in the long term, then these are the bets and the markets you need to be looking at. So, go put the kettle on, and let's dive right in. To really get our heads around this, we have to start with what I call the big lie in the betting world. You see, people often think bookies hate individual winning bets, but that isn't really true. They actually love it when a punter hits a big accumulator because it keeps them coming back. What they truly hate is predictable, sharp action and repeatable edge behavior in markets where their margins are paper thin. This brings us to bet 1, which is all about the corner market. Most people ignore corners because they are focused on the match winner or the big name goal scorers, and that is exactly why we like it. Because it isn't a glamour market, the bookmakers spend significantly less time modeling it compared to the main markets. They tend to use generic, average-based pricing and react mechanically to what happens on the pitch rather than predicting it. In the major European leagues, you're looking at an average of about 9 to 10 corners per match, and the over 8.5 line hits roughly 55 to 60% of the time. Now, that isn't a massive edge on its own, but the real secret here is the timing. What most people do wrong is they place their corner bets pre-match based on a team's season average, but the bookies' models react very aggressively in play. If the first 10 to 15 minutes of a game produce no corners, the price for that over 8.5 line inflates significantly. The model assumes that a slow start means a slow game, but football doesn't work linearly. Corner distribution is clustered. You can easily have 0 corners in the first 15 minutes followed by 5 in the next 10 because of tactical pressure building or an increase in cross volume. By waiting for that 10 to 15 minute window, a sharp trader can let the line drop and the price move from something like 1.80 up to 2.10. You are getting a much better price for a probability that hasn't actually collapsed. By the way, if you like videos like this and want to see more on this subject, remember to click the like button. It tells YouTube to send you more of this kind of content. That leads us neatly to bet 2, which focuses on the shots on target market, or what we call the player prop gap. This is another area where the bookmakers can be quite lazy. They tend to price the obvious, big name strikers very short, often leaning too heavily on season averages without accounting for the actual context of the match. What most people do wrong here is they follow the crowd and back the star striker to have a shot on target at odds of around 1.40. Mathematically, that is almost never a value play. If a striker averages 1.2 shots on target a game, being asked to pay 1.40 for him to get just 1 is a recipe for a dwindling bankroll. The way to approach this correctly is to look for the mid-tier value, typically in the even money territory. Instead of the star man, we look at attacking midfielders or wide forwards who are in a specific vein of form. For example, if you find a midfielder who has registered at least 1 shot on target in 4 of his last 5 games and is playing in an advanced role, you might find him priced at 1.95 for a single shot on target. The bookmakers often miss these tactical nuances because they are managing thousands of matches at once. They stick to their static models, but as traders, we can spot when a player has a confidence spike or a change in positioning that the model hasn't caught up with yet. When you repeatedly beat these player props with disciplined, form-based analysis, the bookies get very nervous, and that is exactly where the inefficiency lives. By the way guys, if you want to skip all the hard work and find the very best player prop or corner bets, then use AI. The Statto app will save you an incredible amount of time, and as you can see, you just press the prompt for the market you're looking for and let the Statto do the hard work for you. I've just generated a set of well-researched picks that fit these exact criteria. It really is as simple as pressing the prompt, letting the app crunch the numbers, and you can find these bets instantly. Typically, you would spend hours researching to find the very best bets, but now Statto can do it for you in seconds. If you want the app, click the link in the description of this video or scan the QR code that is going to be on the screen for the rest of the video. It will be a true game changer for your football betting. Now, that brings me to bet 3, which is the cards market and the in-play timing edge. This is a fascinating one because it is heavily dependent on the referee, and bookmakers rely on a very rigid referee model. They take the referee's average cards per match, apply the team's aggression metrics, and set a pre-match price. But what an algorithm cannot do is read the temperature of a game. Statistics show that the average time for a first yellow card is typically between the 25th and 35th minute, and a massive 60% of cards occur in the second half. What most traders do wrong is they back over 4.5 cards pre-match and then sweat every tackle from the first minute. The smarter way to do this is to wait and watch the human context. If a referee lets 4 or 5 heavy fouls go in the first 20 minutes without reaching for his pocket, the in-play price for cards will skyrocket as the algorithm thinks it's going to be a clean game. However, a human trader can see the tension spiking and the players getting frustrated. By entering the market around the 20-minute mark when the referee is under pressure to regain control, you can secure a much better price. You are essentially exploiting the asymmetry between a mechanical model and your own ability to read the context of the match. That leads us neatly to bet 4, which is a personal favorite, the first half goal market. This is a quiet goldmine because you rarely see bookmakers offering price boosts or promotions here. They simply don't want the volume in this market. The stats are very much on our side here, with approximately 65 to 70% of matches in major leagues seeing at least one goal before the break. Now, pre-match. The price for over 0.5 first half goals is usually quite poor, often sitting around 1.35. But the edge here comes from 2 factors, the drift and modern added time. As we have discussed before, if there is no goal in the first 10 to 15 minutes, the price drifts toward evens. But the thing you have to understand is that goal distribution isn't linear, and modern football has changed the math. We are now seeing 4 to 7 minutes of added time regularly. Most historical models are still based on a 45-minute half, but the reality is that we are often seeing 50 plus minutes. That extra 5 minutes is a massive scoring window that isn't always fully reflected in the drifting price. Professionals quietly exploit this by waiting for the price to rise, knowing that the true time remaining is longer than the clock suggests. It's a niche area, but when you combine it with high-pressure in-play stats, it becomes a very formidable tool. Finally, that brings us to Bet 5, which is about using bet builders for disciplined probability stacking. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bookmakers love bet builders, and they do, but only when punters use them to build crazy 10-to-1 narrative shots that have almost no chance of landing. What they don't like is when you use the tool to stack low odds, high probability outcomes to erode their margin. Instead of taking a risky 3-to-1 single, you can combine 4 selections that are all priced between 1.25 and 1.40, for example. You might combine over 1.5 match goals, a double chance, 1 shot on target for a main attacker, and over 3.5 team corners. Individually, these have a very high hit rate, often around 80%. When you combine them, you can reach a price of around evens. The magic here is in the math. If your selections have a true combined probability that is higher than the bookmaker's implied price, you have an edge. By staying in the probability territory rather than chasing dream combos, you control your variance and keep the margin in your favor. It is about mathematical construction rather than emotional stacking, and that is a distinction the bookies really don't want you to make. As said, guys, if you want to skip all the hard work and find the very best value bets across all these markets, then the Statto app will save you an incredible amount of time. As you can see, you just press the prompt for the market you're looking for and let artificial intelligence do the hard work for you. It really is as simple as pressing the prompt, letting the app crunch the numbers, and you can find these bets instantly. Typically, you would spend hours researching to find the very best bets, but now Statto can do it for you in seconds. If you want the app, click the link in the description of this video or scan the QR code that is going to be on the screen for the rest of the video. It will be a true game changer for your football betting. At the end of the day, the bookmakers don't hate you for winning. They hate it when you stop behaving like an emotional punter and start acting like a disciplined trader. Every market we have covered today, from corners and shots on target to cards and first half goals, requires patience and a refusal to take the bait of high margin, narrative driven bets. If you can master these niche areas and wait for the value to appear, you are operating in a space where the bookies are at their most vulnerable. Thank you so much for watching and for spending some time with me on the whiteboard today. I really hope these insights help you look at the markets in a slightly different way. If you found this breakdown useful, please do remember to hit that like button. It tells YouTube to show you more of this kind of content and it really helps the channel grow. There is actually another video on the screen right now that I think you'll find very interesting if you want to keep building your trading knowledge. Go ahead and click that, and I will see you over there.